My name is SilentRain. I am a senior softball player. I am from a tribe in San Diego and also a tribe in Maine.
My name's Emoni. I'm a freshman volleyball player here, and I'm from the Weewacum First Nation, which is in Campbell River, Canada.
My name's Rosalie Fish. I run cross country and track, and I'm a junior transfer. And I'm from the Muckleshoot Reservation in Auburn, Washington, and I'm also from the Cowlitz tribe, also in Washington. For me, both of my tribes are in Washington, and I have like a lot of extended family who are in the other 29 tribes of Washington. And each of these 29 tribes have in some way, especially because of Canoe Journey, impacted who I was growing up and have been a part of my community at some point. And so to be able to represent the 29 tribes in Washington, for the University of Washington, is just really important to me. And it's one of the main reasons I actually committed here.
I feel like I'm kind of from far away, being from a tribe in San Diego, but I feel like UW specifically, and even my coaches and everything, have really accepted me for who I was. And just the fact that UW is doing this and wanting to hear from us, I think is awesome. And one of the reasons why I chose to come here is because it feels like a family and it feels like a tribe.
Yeah, so. Mine is almost exactly the same thing. I'm already being from Canada and also just on an island in a tiny town. I just was searching for a place that had that same feeling as I was back at home. And my coaches, my teammates, the whole community here, just it makes me feel like I'm back in Campbell River.
Yeah.
Being from a tribe, I think you're instantly just put in that position as a role model for so many people, because it's just such a small community. And so yeah, I think it's really awesome, but it definitely has a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I agree completely. I know I was one of the first student athletes to even sign a letter of intent from my tribal high school, and a lot of Native youth couldn't really see themselves in sports, and it's almost our role to prove that kind of stereotype wrong, that we do belong in sports and our voices need to be here.
I wish that it wouldn't be so uncommon for a Native American woman to be in college athletics. When I tell people, when they hear my name, they're like, "What are you?" I'm like, "I'm Native American," and they're like, "Wow, that's awesome." But I wish that wouldn't be the answer. I wish more Native women would be in college sports, so it wouldn't be such a surprise.
I wish people knew how deeply rooted the sense of community is in Native tribes. It's you have hundreds of people that would literally do anything to see you succeed, and sometimes I'll finish a game and I'll have someone in the stands that is Native American, and they'll just come up to me and be like, "I'm so proud of you, I'm so proud of what you represent," and just stuff like that. I just wish people knew more just how connected everyone is.
I wish people knew I didn't live in a teepee. I've had one of my best friends that I met here that was on the softball team actually asked me if I lived in a teepee, and I was like, no, I live in a normal house. But I just wish that people knew we're normal people, and what they think of as Native people from their history books is not what it is now.
A lot of U.S. history books stop mentioning Native people in general, after the hunting and gathering era, and how we've gotten to here and how we've built these communities and built resilience against oppression is extremely important, but it's very rarely recognized. But it's something I'm super proud of, and I think if there were just more exposure to things about our lives and things that have gotten Native communities to where we are now.
Yeah, I find a lot of, especially in Canada too, they just talk a lot about residential schools and the hardships that we went through, and not a lot of what we did to overcome that and to rebuild our communities.
Even between us three, our tribes have very different cultures, languages, reservations, and communities. And yet whenever I sometimes will meet non-Native people, and they seem to think that all of our experiences are the same. And while we already have a lot in common, we're also 500 diverse tribes across just the United States, let alone Canada.
I think especially in my community. Like, kids are not given a lot of opportunities to like go out and try new sports and like get out of the small town and like kind of explore like what they want to do. So I just think like giving more opportunities to kids to like find out what they like truly love and what they want to like go after, I think would play a really big role.
One thing I would tell my younger self if I had the chance to would be that I deserve to be here. Like 5 to 6 years ago, I was struggling pretty heavy with like depression and anxiety and just like my image of self. There was like a lot of racism where I was from, and I never just really felt like comfortable with who I was, and I didn't feel confident about being like a Native girl. And so it took me a long time to actually accept that I deserve opportunities like being a Washington Husky.
Mine's kind of similar. I would just tell myself that I'm like worthy enough to be a role model for my community. I think a lot of the time, like through high school and just like leading up to coming here, I'd stress out about like being like the perfect person to like represent my community and represent like the youth that are in my community. And just now knowing like me as a person is good enough, and it's good enough for like younger kids to follow after.
I would tell my younger self to, like you guys said, to not doubt myself, but to also like take the opportunities that I've been given being Native and like run with it. Being like one of the first people to come from my tribe to go to college and play sports, like you said, like it's a big responsibility, but like I feel like that's so exciting, like knowing that and knowing that I can like have a big impact on not only people from my tribe, but from tribes like all across the country. I remember when we went to Oklahoma City and my freshman year for the World Series, and these little girls like came up to me and their parents, and they were like, "We've been watching you like this whole season, like we're from a tribe here in Oklahoma, like we just want to say like you're so inspiring." And they literally like almost made me cry, because I was like, how was I ever supposed to know that like I would impact these girls like this? When I was younger, I was almost embarrassed of being Native and how I just felt so much different than everyone else around me, especially in like my elementary school, because I was no longer in school with my Native cousins and my friends that I've known forever. But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized how being Native is something that is a part of me. It makes me who I am. It makes me different, and I wouldn't want to be anything else.
Going off of yours, I would also just say like be proud of who you are. Like just like everyone, I grew up the same thing, like feeling like I kind of had to hide my traditions and like who I was, whether it was like bringing a fish sandwich to school or like wearing my regalia like out, but just like things like that. I wish I just would have been who I was from the start, because I look back on it and I'm just like so appreciative of what my culture has given to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, whether it be like coaches or other Native athletes, or really like any other student at University of Washington, has probably at one point felt like they've been othered. And like the one thing I'd want to say to anybody who feels that way is like you absolutely like deserve to be here, and your voice is so powerful.